Good afternoon.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm from the Literature Times, and here we are today with Soumyashri Debasish, whose novel I'm the Motivator, and we are going to talk about this book and get to know the author as well. So, first, I like to introduce our author. Soumyashri Debasish sir is actually an aviation professional in Indian Airlines, and after that, he was also in Air India, and he has also written two books, Love, Pride, Paradox and Prophecy, and second book is Illusion in Air, A New Definition of Love. And he also runs a cafe, so it will be a great interview. So sir, let's start the interview.
Yeah, thank you. It's a privilege to be with you for this interview. We can carry on.
Okay, sir. So my first question is, what inspired you to write I'm the Motivator?
Well, as you know, India is an influential economical and political power in global arena now. But
Yes.
when it comes to the quality of life, we are lagging behind in all indexes.
Yes.
Countries less developed than us are way ahead in these terms.
Yes, sir.
It is because we don't have a very strong national character in place.
That's true.
Uh, Individually, I always had a lingering desire to give back something to the society, and so I thought motivating the younger generation will be a fitting reply and inspire them, do something for the society. With that in mind, I thought to work on this book, and ATM, I'm the Motivator, is the result.
Yes. And how do you define the movement you talk about in the book?
When you talk about a movement, it is a collective effort of a strongly motivated group of people who are determined to bring in some changes in our system, in our society.
Yes.
In this book, we are talking about a paradigm shift in our thought process and action. Our thought process in our action, a societal change we are talking about, which will eventually improve the quality of life in our country. For this,
Yes.
we need a large section of the society in sync with the idea, and they should act as influencers for the next generation and so on, till such time it becomes the way of life. So for this,
Yes.
we need a great mobilization. That is what I'm trying to tell in this book.
Okay. And how do you target audience and why did you choose them?
Although this book is for every Indian per se,
Yes, sir.
but the campaign is targeted the age group of 20 to 25.
Yes, sir.
It's because, young minds are flexible, and they're more receptive to the new ideas. But as kids, it's better to start with the kids. But the problem is with kids, they have considerable influence of the teaching of parents
Yes, sir.
and family members around them.
Yes, sir.
So there may be resistance from the family for any kind of ideas which are not sync with their traditional values.
That's true.
Similarly, when you join in an professional ecosystem, then you start imbibing those things in your habits. So this age group, 20 to 25, they are just leaving the house from the clutch of parental direct supervisions, not yet joined in the professional environment. So it is easier for any thing like us to influence them, guide them, so they will be more flexible. So that is the reason I have decided for this age group.
Okay, sir. And can you share a key lesson from the book that you think everyone should know?
Actually, this book has two parts. If you see, the first part deals with four influencers. So those are social influencers, emotional influencers, intellectual influencers, and spiritual influencers. These are the four
Yes.
influencers we're talking in the first part. At
Yes.
the end of each chapter, it is suggested to have an issue matrix for
Yes, sir.
self-reflections. So everyone will have their unique issue matrix, which eventually guide them to reorient your their attitude towards the issues mentioned there. Second part
Yes, sir.
deals with some pertinent social issues. So basically, this book doesn't talk about any specific concept, but gives you enough food for thoughts to introspect.
Yes, that's right. And what role does self-reflection play in personal and societal transformation?
You know, it is absolutely of no use if you start preaching something which you don't practice,
Yes, sir.
isn't it?
Yes,
So it is essential that first to convince yourself and start make those habits the way of your life before talking those issues to others.
yes, sir.
When you haven't changed your way, how you will be motivated to be part of a movement for any change? So first you have to be motivated, isn't it?
Yes,
So self-reflection is very much needed to bring in changes within yourself, which will eventually be a collective effort for any societal change.
yes, sir. And how did you how did your career in aviation influence the theme in your book?
You know, in aviation sector, all processes, because what you do, every processes are very clearly laid down.
Yes,
But
sir.
everything, you will have an SOP. Beyond SOP, you can't work. Eh?
Yes,
So, in a way, you are working in a very disciplined environment.
yes, sir.
That inspires you to encourage discipline in every works of your life.
Ye- Yes,
Secondly,
sir.
working in an airline gave me that global exposure,
Yes, sir.
which become the yardstick to assessing the quality of life in my country.
Yes, sir. And how do you hope readers will take away from reading and the motivator?
Say again.
I said, how do you hope readers will take away from reading and the motivator?
What readers will take away? What is the take away from this book? Yeah, because that is what we're talking from the beginning. Because the readers eventually they they will inspire themselves to be
Yes,
part of a movement, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. So that is the takeaway, because you be the first motivator for yourself first, then that collective effort will uh, try to inspire the society, the generation coming, next generation, or the people around you. So that is the basic takeaway from this book.
yes, sir. And how can the younger generation become the influencer of change?
You see, to bring in a paradigm shift in our national character, we have to change the mindset of the people. That's very important, because
Yes,
the mindset has to change. For that, you have to start from one generation who are going to be the decision makers for the nation in various capacity. Suppose you are for working on one generation, they will, when they will join the professional ecosystem, they will in different capacities. So they should be the one generation you should target. So,
yes,
so they should the beginning. Your beginning should start from one generation. They are the future of the nation eventually. As I
yes,
told
sir.
earlier, the youngsters are flexible in their thinking. dynamic in their
Yes.
approach, and always action oriented.
Yes, sir.
So if you can motivate them for a major societal change, they will be the influencer not only for the others, but also for the next generation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And the same process will continue.
Yes, sir. It will be a continuous process.
Exactly.
Yes. And was there a particular moment or experience that sparked the idea for this book?
In fact, if you read the book, you'll find this book is collection of many real life experiences. Everywhere, after everything that you'll find, there is a real life experiences which has been enumerated, which are the soul of this book.
Yes, sir.
While explaining every issue, instead of giving my theoretical sermons or any kind of theoretical sermons, I relied on experiences
Yes.
I have come across in my life, or I'm aware of those incidents happened somewhere. The idea is that readers should appreciate the relevance of the issues by connecting with some real life experiences.
Yes, sir. And what advice would you give to someone who's struggling to find the motivation in their life?
You see, motivation should come from within. Isn't it? Nobody can motivate you. It's first you should. People can give you lecture. You can read books, but it should first come from within. For that, you have to look for a purpose in life. You must have a purpose
Yes, sir.
in life. The purpose
Yes, sir.
that will push you out of your comfort zone.
That's true.
Once you are out of your comfort zone and start enjoying what you are doing, you will have an unsatiable desire to move on in your life to achieve the goals. You will be always in the state of bliss.
Yes, sir.
And that is what called a motivated person. Chase your
Yes,
passion and have that hunger to succeed.
yes, sir. That's true. And how did you come up with the concept of issue metrics in the book?
Issue matrix is basically a concept which deals with self-assessment.
Yes, sir.
I personally believe that before I want to change in my thinking or behavior, first I should know where I stand now,
Yes,
and vis-a-vis what I'm thinking of doing that thing, and what all need to be changed so that I can be an influencer for the other.
yes, sir.
Right? For me, so issue matrix will help the readers in these aspects. You know,
Yes, sir.
what is where you stand and what changes you need to aspire within you. Then we can influence us.
And what challenges did you face while writing I Am the Motivator, and how did you overcome them?
You see, frankly speaking, the challenges are less writing one motivational book rather than writing a fiction.
Yes,
Fiction,
sir.
every time you have to imagine something. You have to imagine something. That imagination can go to any extent. But for writing, if you're a book which can influence, so you are writing from your own experiences. You are
Yes,
so
sir.
that because you are writing what you felt, that, but it is more realistic rather than having some abstract thing like unlike writing a fiction. So that I always say it is better. It is easier to write a motivational book rather than writing a fiction.
Then writing a fictional novel.
Because I had
Yes,
a experience of both writing a fiction as well as this
sir.
book.
Yes, sir. So I wanted to talk about your previous book. I wanted to know about them too, what kind of story they have, and judging from their title, are they were romantic books?
Which the previous books.
Yes, sir. The previous books.
Yeah, it was both the books are different. Actually, first book was having some, both have romance. Always fiction without romance doesn't work anyway. The romance part is always there. It was there rather, and but in the first book I was dealing with some the conflict of a person who is looking for a purpose in life. Second book was more close to my own profession. It was around the aviation profession. So these are
Oh,
two different aspects I was dealing with things.
okay. Oh, so there will be a future book. So if there will be a future book, what will be the theme of your new book?
Frankly, I haven't thought of in that way, but I have a desire to write a book which will be like a autobiography of a common man, like
Oh,
the Indian. If you see the Indian middle class, if you see relate their life, almost they have got different people are different life, but the pattern of life is almost same. The struggle is same. So I want to take a leaf out of my own life to write an autobiography of a common man of India. So that is I'm thinking of doing in my next book.
that's such an amazing concept. So I'll look forward for your book, sir. And how do you think I'm the Motivator differ from other motivational book?
Uh, this is something uh, you see motivational. In my as a student, as a young boy, I have read a lot of motivational book. They have inspired me, but this book is talking about, because they talk about different concept. They talk about you do this thing, you do this thing, your action should be like this. But this book doesn't tell anything that you do these things. This book is telling introspect, do self-realization, create your own issue matrix, you see where you stand, then you do. So it is, this book is not telling that this is the concept which is good for everybody. So every individual
Yes, sir.
will have a different approach towards life, but at the end of the day, we need to have a strong national character. That
Yes,
is
sir.
that is where it is different from other book, because it is talking about you and your
Yes,
effort to make this, rather than giving any concept.
yes, sir. And like you mentioned that you have read many books. I want to know which one is your favorite book and who's your favorite author?
Well, there are many, but one book I read uh, during the COVID time, when we're
Yes.
all at home. That's a book, Swami Vivekananda, The Living Vedanta, by
Oh,
Chaturvedi Badrinath.
hmm.
It's a beautiful biography which gives a different perspective to Swamiji's life. Amongst the contemporary Indian writers, I read some of the good work of Jhumpa Lahiri, Amitabh Ghosh.
Yes, sir.
I like the storytelling of, many people don't know, there's a great writer, Manoj Das, Indian
Yes,
writer. So he's from Odisha, because I'm a native of Odisha. So he's a great writer. Hmm. So then you read other books for, like Frederick Farsi, The Day of the Jackal. You read, I love that book. There are many books like this, but these are the books which, these are the writers, and this book particularly, it's very close to my heart.
oh, yes, sir. It's an amazing book, and I want to know, in your opinion, what is the biggest barrier preventing societal changes today?
It is the rigid mindset. We
Right.
don't want to, we don't want to change. Most of us, we
Yes,
don't want to change practices, rituals, social behavior in the name of traditions. You know,
yes, sir.
so, sometimes faith overshadows the scientific reasoning.
Yes, sir.
Societal change will not be that difficult if we adopt a flexible mindset. We should be open to
Right.
discussion, debate without being judgmental.
Yes, sir. And how has your journey from aviation to entrepreneurship shaped your perspective on motivation and personal growth?
Frankly speaking, after 33 years of service, I wanted to do something because I used to be an employee, so I wanted to be an employer. Gave me some kind of motivation because I started my restaurant because food is always very close to my heart. I'm a foodie. I'm a rather connoisseur of food. I always wanted to have my own restaurant, and in the process, I felt that if I can generate some employment for the people, it is not that I want to do a big business. For me, it is a passion, and giving some people some kind of creating some. So that is the motivation. Otherwise, that is not. I don't aspire to be a big entrepreneur per se. It is just my chasing the passions.
Yes. So you mentioned your restaurant. I want to know what it's like. Does it even have a book corner in your cafe, restaurant?
Book and cafe.
Ah,
I'm not very sure whether I'll be writing a book on my cafe. I'm not sure. I'm not thought of that.
okay. Uh, can you tell me anything else that I haven't mentioned in the interview? Anything that I have missed?
One point I'd like to highlight here, uh, that we should motivate our this generation kids to develop the habit of reading. So they are now
Yes, sir.
they are totally into the this internet, what you call this social media. So this is the habit of reading. We must encourage them to develop that habit. In the digital age, the reading habit has been a casualty.
Yes, sir.
So I'm being a old school person. I still enjoy a physical book, but for this generation, it's okay with me if they at least read through Kindle also. No issue. But you should
Yes, sir.
read.
And like you said, you are a foodie. So is there any kind of you do while writing that if I do this, I get to eat this kind of thing?
No, you see, foodie. It is. I'm not a foodie. Rather, I'm a connoisseur of food because I love to experiment with the food. Rather, sometimes cooking is a stress buster for me.
Okay.
So I cook reasonably well. So it's a stress buster. Sometimes I want to make something. I'm tense, so it's good to go to kitchen and make something. Eh?
Okay.
And so everything. You see, whether you are writing a book or preparing a dish, it's a creation. You are creating something. And if your creation comes out good, you always feel good.
Yes, sir, that's right. And have you ever suffered from writer's block while writing about your book?
No, no. I'm not been very, not been exposed to that thing much.
So, thank you, sir. And it was great talking to you about you and your book. And I'm looking forward for the upcoming projects if you write. And it will be a great honor if I get to interview you again.
Thank you, Saki. It's a great pleasure talking to you. Hope we'll talk again sometime.
Sure, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank you,
sir.
thank you.